Hello, everyone, and welcome. Been another month, and another month of me primarily being busy. But, so I've got some great news. I finally have my appointment with an endocrinologist. Yay, very exciting. It seemed like, yeah, some time ago I made that video about my getting my letter of referral, and not long after that I got my appointment, my official appointment locked in, and it is happening June 3rd at 8 a.m. I am really ecstatic and excited, and I can't wait for that day. But one thing that I wanted to kind of do that's sort of, been building up to this is time. It seemed like, months and months ago that I started this, vast journey. Well, not vast, but this journey of sorts. And one thing that got me through a lot of the waiting and a lot of the periods is just having things to pass the time. So I thought it would be a good idea to sit down and share, to kind of share the things that I do in my spare time, outside of my very busy work schedule, the ways that I past time to have alleviated this current weight leading up to this point, and how I'll probably end up passing time in the future as I wait to hit other milestones. So here I have a list in front of me, and I'm just gonna just go through and just go on through it. Video games. So those it's very obvious that I'm a very unapologetic pop culture nerd. I absolutely love playing video games. So whenever I have a little bit of free time, usually during the week or on the weekends especially, I love to just sit down and just dive into a video game, just dive into like a vast digital world and just get lost for a couple of hours. Just a nice escape from reality, just a nice sort of therapeutic sort of thing to just kind of break away, just kind of break away from everything. Whether that be just playing a dumb fun game that I just haven't touched in a while, or just going back through one of my favorite stories, or making a dent in the ever expanding backlog of games that that has accumulated just these past several months alone. I always try to find something to play, just depending on how I'm my mood that day or that week. I just try to go through it. For anyone that might be curious about what exactly I've been playing as of recent, I've been playing a lot of Mortal Kombat 11, Persona 5. I'm trying to make more and more progress in Red Dead Redemption 2. I've especially been going back and playing a lot of Devil May Cry 5 and Resident Evil 2 especially. I've also been playing Project X Zone 2 because I've been trying to get more into tactics games. And hell, I've even started playing Fortnite on the Switch, but literally only because you can play as John Wick in that game. I don't know. What do you want from me? Watch films or TV shows. Now, like I said, I'm an unapologetic film pop culture nerd, and if it's not video games, then I love to watch film. I love to sit down and watch a good film or watch a good series, just something good. Though probably one of my biggest crippling crutches is the fact that I find myself rewatching a lot of the same stuff over and over again, whether that be as background noise or just because I find it just so damn entertaining, rather than making a dent in my ever expanding watch list. But every now and again, I try to sit down and expose myself to something new that I haven't seen before, regardless of the genre. If it looks interesting to me, or I've been told that it's good and I'm going on a recommendation, I always try to keep my horizons open to new things that I might find interesting and entertaining. Outside of going to the theater semi-regularly for new hit releases, just last week, I'm still oohing and ahhing over just how much I love John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum. That is hands down my favorite action film of the year, if not probably my favorite film of the year, and I cannot recommend it enough. But outside of the action genre, I love a whole bunch of different other kinds of movies. If you were to look at the walls of my room and my entertainment room, you would see just out from the gate that I'm just a huge fucking nerd for these kinds of things. So, yeah. Yeah. Reading. Yeah, I pretty much love to read. In a lot of my downtime, if I just love to just kind of pick something up and I just like to read it. Although sadly, no, I don't read a whole lot of print, like actual books these days. I mostly just do a lot of reading, whether that just be kind of like curious research into something pop culture related, like researching the dev cycle of a game or the production cycle of a film, or reading like random articles about stuff. I just like to read and inform myself on various things, relative to my interests. But every now and again, I find myself, trying to pick up a decent novel or graphic or comic book or something just to kind of get, just kind of dive into and actually do some real reading for once and just, get and just kind of sucked into that kind of experience. I haven't been reading anything new too recently. I do have a couple of books in my backlog, if you will, that I've been trying to take some time to actually read. But as far as actual, like, print reading that I've been doing, I've just been rereading a lot of Punisher Max by Garth Ennis. Garth Ennis. Probably the greatest Punisher story, some of the greatest Punisher stories ever written. These comic books are extremely well done and really capture the spirit of Frank Castle very well. And I would say what a great read, whether you like this character in general, or if you're coming hot off the heels of unfortunately, recently canceled Netflix series and kind of want something a little bit more faithful to get into, I guess. I don't know why I'm making that out there recommendation. I don't know. I just really love the Punisher. Learning guitar. This is definitely a different one. I'm not exactly someone you would consider musically gifted. I do like music. I kind of have an open mind and like a little bit of everything, but I've never actually been one to be good at playing an instrument. I did actually try playing the clarinet when I was in the 5th grade, and that did not go so well, is all I'm going to say about that. And then fast forward to the present, and then I thought, there just came a point where I thought, like, I want to break away more from screens and technology and just do something a little bit more old-fashioned and basic. So I thought, hey, why not try learning the guitar? So I literally went to Guitar City and bought the most reasonably affordable acoustic guitar I could find. And for the past couple of months, I have been trying to learn it. I don't know much, but at least I'm trying. So, give me some credit there. Chilling. Now, I'm a person that likes to kind of power down the electronics every now and again, or kind of use them as minimally as possible, and I like to just lay back and just relax. I like to either put on some, white noise kind of music or sounds, or just light a couple candles and just kick back and unwind and just, just relax. Just go to a nice, simple state of mind and just relax. Just pass a little bit of time. Napping. Now, I'm an insomniac, and it is very difficult for me to get sleep during my very busy work week. So whenever I do feel, kind of a sense of tired or exhaustion, or during the weekends especially when I have that sort of flexible time, I like to just shut everything off. I like to just lay back, kind of unwind, and I just try to go to sleep for maybe like a couple hours or an hour or two at most, and just get caught up on some sleep and just, kind of refresh myself physically and mentally. And it's also just a great way for killing time. If you don't want to sit around doing nothing, you might as well do nothing and get some sleep while you're at it, is a way of putting it. So, Try to write. Now, as an aspiring filmmaker and just, I guess, content creator in general, I try to write as much as I possibly can. I am not by any means a good writer, but at least I try. I try to be. I've heard positive things about my work in the past in various different areas, but I don't think of myself as great. I just love to write and get, kind of lost in the idea of crafting stories and characters and just building worlds and creating these intricate narratives with all these different types of themes and subject matter that I think would be very interesting to play around with. And so whenever I can and whenever I have the motivation to, which I don't have very often, I try to sit down in front of in front of the page and just try to write as much as I can, and hopefully one day that can translate into a fully finished screenplay or fully finished something that I can then produce and, make something of. Tinker with my collection. Now, this one's very self-explanatory. I'm a huge nerd. I love collecting all kinds of different things. Aside from like video game consoles, posters, and movies, I love to collect, figures as a whole. Just kind of nerdy little items here and there. So aside from like your super popular Pop Funko vinyls, I also like to just collect, little props and replicas of stuff. I also like collecting other kinds of figures. For years, I've been collecting these little figures called Mini-Mates, these little 2-inch figurines that are, based on all kinds of different properties. I've been getting these for years, and I intend to get many, many more. I've always just liked the look of them and just that they're just super cool, and they're super affordable to get. But in the more expensive side of things, I've also recently been getting into 1/6 scale collecting. At the time of this recording, I only have one huge license figure. I have this 1/6 scale Hot Toys figure of the Punisher from season 2 of Daredevil, not to be confused with the Solo series, which I wish they would make a figure for. And then on the way, I've also got figures coming in for Spider-Man and John Wick and a couple other figures. But yeah, I just, every now and again, I like to sit down and tinker with these and just kind of set them up differently and just kind of toy around with them, because I'm a huge fucking nerd, and there's just something there's just like a sentimental joy that I get from putting these on display and saying like, yes, I am a fan of all of these different properties, because that's just who I am. And that is really about it. There are a couple other activities that I tend to do, such as spending time with friends and family, or going out to parks and just kind of getting out of the house and doing other stuff, but I don't really have the time, or people that I know don't really have the time. So these are the things that I usually do when I'm kind of, stuck in the house, if you will, and I enjoy it. I mean, it's definitely helped pass these past couple, get me through these past couple of months to get to this point, and I really hope that, and I imagine it'll get me through the next couple of months just as fast to get to other milestones that I hope to be at in the near future. And yeah, that's really it. That's how I pass the time. But what about you, the audience? What kind of things do you do to pass the time in general? I've always liked to keep an open mind, and I'm always trying to expand my horizons to try new things. So I'd be very curious to know what you wonderful people watching tend to do in your spare time, like to pass time, or just fun activities you like to do in general. I'd be very curious to know just what you do, and perhaps expand my mind to some new things that I can try when I have free time. So, but yeah, that is very much just about it. Thanks very much for watching, and I will be back around next time. Take care.